Hi everyone, welcome to our Gingerbread City drive-through. Well, instead of a gala, who wants to eat another rubber chicken breast dinner anyway? We're so glad you're here to check out some incredible art. I will guarantee I did not build any of it because you wouldn't want to eat it or look at it. Well, you can't eat these houses, but we hope you have a great time, get in the holiday spirit, learn a little bit about something we are very passionate about, which is epilepsy and the Epilepsy Foundation, and most of all, have a good time. It's great to see you and thank you for being here.
I was first diagnosed with epilepsy in September 2018. It was following a very severe case of dehydration.
So Paige was diagnosed in November of last year, so we're just up on her year anniversary of diagnosis. But she had her first seizure in September of last year.
When I was first diagnosed, I definitely internalized a stigma that I would be seen as a burden. I would be perceived as a burden. It was never anything that anyone had made me feel. It was just my initial reaction because of the sense of loss of control, the sense of relying on others to help me through the situation. And so it was frightening. I was afraid to tell my family because I didn't want to burden them with the worry. And I was nervous about telling my employers because I wasn't sure how it would reflect on my capacity as a viable employee and how it might be perceived.
We had no idea what was happening because in the beginning she could speak and describe what she was experiencing, and it was not like anything that we'd ever seen.
If you don't know about epilepsy, 1 in 10 people will have a seizure during their lifetime, and 1 in 26 will be diagnosed with epilepsy. So what that is basically 3.4 million people in the US have epilepsy, and what's challenging is about a third of those folks with epilepsy, their seizures are not controlled.
Epilepsy really is a group of disorders, so seizures can be very different. So they can be caused by very different reasons.
It's kind of hard for me to walk when I have epilepsy without falling down on the ground with a seizure.
The individuals with epilepsy typically have just a wide range of issues and causes for their seizures. Some individuals start off with developmental issues, so their brains formed in an atypical way, which causes their seizures. And other individuals begin having seizures after they've had an injury or infection to the brain.
People can find some control through medication or neurofeedback or lifestyle, diet, exercise, a number of things, but we are here to provide wraparound support services for everyone, individuals and families impacted by epilepsy. So we do that through education, awareness, advocacy, counseling, support groups, so we can just help people and show up for them and help them to be empowered to live their best life.
The Epilepsy Foundation was a huge part of helping me to overcome that stigma that I was struggling with. And the biggest turning point for me was the education conference in 2019 and seeing people on the panel who I could see myself in their stories and I could see myself in their experiences, and having that shared lived experience was very important to move away from the self-isolation that I had been doing because no one in my life had epilepsy.
The Epilepsy Foundation has been like a lifeline for us. The parent groups have been hugely important in my life to be able to communicate with other parents who understand what it's like to care for a child with epilepsy, because I don't have anyone else in our circle who has experience with epilepsy.
Unfortunately, epilepsy can have a lot of stigma around it, and so we are very aware of, one, promoting the fact that there's things that we don't need to be afraid of with epilepsy. And one of the best ways to do that is to talk openly about people having epilepsy. And so one of the greatest ways to do that is just through efforts of the Epilepsy Foundation, as well as individuals, to have open conversations about what epilepsy is and what it's not.
I have the best job in America, and I remind myself that when I'm having a 12-hour day, but I think about the work that we do, and what I'm really proud of is our support services, not only for the people with epilepsy, but their family members that are also impacted by epilepsy. So We have support groups, a parent support group, a women's support group. What's it like if your child has epilepsy, and how do you support them, and how do you get them through school? And so we have all of these different resources, again, for the people that have epilepsy and for their loved ones. We have that type of education and raising awareness and really helping the whole community to understand what it's like to have seizures or a seizure disorder, and to provide a helpline or a resource for them.
I refer most of my patients to the Epilepsy Foundation as a resource. I find that they could be a great help, not only for support, for resource for support groups, but the Epilepsy Foundation throughout the year has great activities such as the educational opportunities, support groups such as women with epilepsy, also the scholarships that they provide for camps.
I don't know that I ever knew anyone with epilepsy, and so 2 years ago, I get a phone call. I was walking out the door to a community luncheon, and my daughter was calling, but it wasn't my daughter, it was a friend who said, "Hi, Reiko's mom. I'm calling to say that Reiko has had a seizure, and she's in the back of an ambulance." She's in the back of an ambulance going to the hospital. So that was the beginning of my epilepsy journey. And thankfully, she's doing fine now. But all of this kind of fear and anxiety, and what does that mean if your loved one can fall and, hit the ground at any moment? So I'm so fortunate that she is okay, and through our own journey of what does support look like, is it medication, is it diet, is it exercise, acupuncture, chiropractic, neurofeedback, all of these different resources that we learned about, not only through our foundation, through our national foundation, and through research of our own, that there's a lot of hope out there, and there's a lot of possibility. And I hope that we can provide that resource and some of that light that our family has seen, and just that people know that we understand, and we are here on this journey with you.
The Epilepsy Foundation is one of the first places I turn people toward when they come into us for having epilepsy. We actually have a whole folder of resources for individuals, and information about the Epilepsy Foundation is in there.
I am so thankful to the Epilepsy Foundation because we just would have been lost. Like, you guys just wrap yourselves around families and usher them through the process, and to have that kind of security and love is, I don't even have the words to express how amazing, what an amazing gift that is for a family.
I would say the biggest silver lining for me since this journey of learning to live with epilepsy is that it's taught me I really need to slow down. And that has been another element that has transformed how I relate to myself and the people around me. And so with that in mind, and thinking about the resources and support that I found since my diagnosis and how much those have far outweighed the obstacles that I've experienced, it makes me very hopeful for the future and what this lesson has taught me.
I got involved with the Epilepsy Foundation of San Diego a few years ago when I organized a fashion show for them. Last year I got invited to create a gingerbread structure for the epilepsy, which was amazing. I was excited when I was invited to be part of the event, and now I'm making it's called Advent Express, and it just brings the Christmas joy in this month to everybody.
I just want to talk a little bit for a moment about gratitude, and that is that we are so thankful for all of you coming out today, buying a ticket, to our sponsors, to our donors who make this work possible. By you being here today and supporting us allows us to continue our services at no cost to anybody who calls us, rings our doorbell, whether we're here or not, presses the Zoom button. We are here for the entire community, and your support makes that possible. So thank you so much for your help.